Hello everyone, welcome to Business Education and Research. The amount of dividend distributed by companies to its equity shareholders differ from period to period and company to company. The companies are following various dividend policies such as regular dividend policy, irregular dividend policy, stable dividend policy, constant dividend policy, conservative dividend policy, and liberal dividend policy. This video presents the major determinants of dividend policies adopted by company. The term dividend means a return, reward, cash or otherwise that a company gives to its shareholders. The companies are paying dividends to shareholders in the form of cash payments and stock, that is bonus shares. Let us see the various factors influencing dividend policies of companies one by one. To start with, let us see how the age of the company is influencing its dividend policies. The newly started companies may not be able to pay dividends or higher amount of dividends as the revenue may not be adequate. Whereas well-established companies with sound track record and profitability can pay attractive dividend with its higher revenue and profitability. The shareholding pattern of the company influences its dividend policy. A closely held company with smaller number of shareholders or companies heavily invested by mutual funds and institutional investors can get approval from the shareholders for a very conservative dividend policy, and the company can reinvest its surplus amount of profit in its expansion and modernization programs. Whereas a company with widely scattered retail investors prefer to follow a liberal dividend policy, as the retail investors expect the company to maintain a high dividend yield ratio. The reinvestment opportunities and requirements also influences the dividend policy of the company. If the company is required to reinvest or find better opportunities to reinvest in its expansion, modernization and new projects, the board of directors will propose going for a nil or very conservative dividend policy. Contrary to this, if there are no requirements or opportunities for the management, it may advocate a very attractive and liberal dividend policy. The stage of business cycle in which the company is operating is also influencing its dividend policy. The prevailing stage of business cycle influences the dividend policy of the company. During the growth and boom period, the earnings and profitability will be higher, and it facilitates the companies to go for a very liberal dividend policy. The maturity and declining stage pose a lot of challenges to the company, and the company struggles to earn revenue and make profits, and they are forced to follow a very conservative dividend policy. The prevailing corporate tax and dividend tax in the country influences the dividend policy. If the company pays enormous amount of corporate tax, then the company will follow a conservative dividend policy because a major part of its profit is paid in the form of tax. Similarly, if dividend tax is very high, the company has to pay dividend to shareholders only after deducting dividend at source. Therefore, even if the company pays a liberal dividend policy, ultimately the shareholders will be getting less amount of cash dividend. In that case, the company may prefer to skip the dividend and go for reinvestment opportunities because the reinvestment opportunities will increase the earning capacity of the company and increase the market value of the company. The cash profit and liquidity condition mainly influences the dividend policy of a company. To pay dividends, the company ultimately needs an adequate amount of cash profits. Therefore, if the company's receivables management is efficient, it can have a good amount of cash balance to pay dividend. The expectation of shareholders of the company influences its dividend policy. If the company has more retail investors and mutual fund investors with regular income schemes or regular dividend schemes, such shareholders expect the company to pay a regular and constant dividend. In such cases, the company must maintain a regular dividend policy.